What's up, guys? Welcome again to OMG. We're here for another quest for question in the Bible. Questions in the Bible. We're here to study literal questions found in the Bible. So join me as we search for a question asked by someone found in the Bible. What type of question is this? Where it can be found? And most of all, what lesson can we learn from this question that is found in the Bible? So let's go ahead and see our question. Who asked this question? Where is the newborn King of the Jews? Where is the newborn King of the Jews? I think you know who asked this question. It was the wise men of our Christmas story, the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. It's found in Matthew 2 verse 2, but the context of this whole story was Matthew 2, I think 2 to 12, but we'll make a shorter one just for this question because I'll make another video for other questions found in that context. So this is just a question for now. Who is the newborn King of the Jews? Asked by the wise men. And this is a factual question because the wise men, and also known the Magi, were inquiring for more information about the newborn king. They were asking King Herod. And of course, Herod didn't know there was a newborn king. And he asked his advisors, and they said that there's to be prophesied a newborn king. And they said, I don't know if they also knew, but it was to be born in Bethlehem. So King Herod made an agreement. He said, go and worship this newborn king and report to me so that I can also worship. Where is that specific place? Where he is born? But in the back of his mind, he had other intentions. King Herod had other intentions. This man was like selfish, So let's start from Matthew 2 verse 9. Let's go to Matthew 2. Actually, let's see Matthew 2 verse 2. We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him. See, their devotion to worship him is to worship him. Not just to bless, worship him. So let's go to 2 verse 9. So in Matthew 2 verse 9 to 10, after this interview, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. It went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy. So this, other scholars say this star also projected the glory, the Shekinah glory of God. So you know that glory, they describe it that when you enter that glory, his presence, there's peace and joy. And there Jesus was, and when around him was the glory, the Shekinah glory. Even as the star shone upon him, there was this glory emanating. And Magi people were known for their studies. That's why they called them wise men. These people studied astrology, astronomy, and some science from Persia. They were from Persia. So because of their studies and what they do. They were highly respected people, and they were like the known scientists of those days. So that's why whenever, as I heard from a pastor, whenever a king was born, they were invited to bless someone, like maybe a prince was born, because they wanted also the wisdom. And it is there where we get that word magi, where we get the word magic, because in magic there are tricks. There's a secret found to every magic trick, but because it's a trick, it's a secret, people hunger for how did that happen. But when it comes to real truth, what God gives in the Bible, it's open, it's free, there's nothing to hide, and that makes great satisfaction. See, there's that difference when there's a wisdom that is half truth, it keeps you still wondering. You're not fully satisfied. But when it's the whole truth, you're filled. There's joy, there's release, freedom. The truth will always set you free. I've got the whole truth. I've got the answer. So, as I was saying, they traveled from Persia, and Persia was 900 miles, which is possibly 120 days of travel, 4 months of travel to where Jesus was, or maybe the area where Jesus was. Maybe from there to King Herod's palace, and then to Jesus, another more days to where Jesus was, which is Bethlehem. So for them to travel that far, which before there was no airplanes or cars, vehicles, they only had donkeys and horses. Even their horses and donkeys only were used to carry their things. And these men were not just 3 men. They drove in caravans. These were wise men, many of them, in groups. So we only know, I think, the idea that there were 3 men because of the 3 gifts, but they were in a group, as let me show you the picture again. This group, you can see that there were a lot of them, and for them to be devoted just to worship Jesus, that's true worship, when from the heart, I'm going to go this far to give something to the King. Nothing will stop me. And in those days, this was Middle East. It was dry, hot, humid. Nothing could stop them to worship. And they asked the king, where is this newborn king? So we could worship him. We have seen his star, and we have come to worship him. So let's go to the next slide. It says in Matthew 2 verse 11, they entered the house and saw the child with his mother Mary. And they bowed down and worshipped him. They bowed down. And they opened their treasure chests and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. That's why we have this notion of 3 wise men, because of this verse. But as a matter of fact, there were a lot. Maybe more gifts. but these are the three most significant because they have meaning. Gold, as scholars say, represent royalty. It was a gift for one of with royalty from a bloodline of royalty, and it was true because Jesus was from the bloodline of David. Both of his parents were from the bloodline of David, the greatest king known. And then frankincense was a gift for deity, for the gods. Actually, they burned frankincense, and then when the aroma rose, the sweet aroma rose, they were expecting that God would be satisfied with the aroma, because they were hoping that it was good worship. No sins, no, it was pure worship. So, and this was a gift that represent that truly Jesus is the Son of God. And lastly, myrrh. This is different one. Myrrh was a gift which represented death. This is a gift for his purpose on coming to earth, why he was born. He was born to die for us sinners. Myrrh was used to embalm the dead. So it was like a preparation for his purpose. Even as wrong, or maybe I don't believe in astrology because it's much of a guessing game rather than a science, whatever they study. And it says in James 2 verse 19, "You say you have faith, for you believe that there is one God. Good for you, even the demons believe this, and they tremble in terror." So even people like this, wise men who studied astrology and have wrong beliefs, God used them to worship the King of Kings, the Son of God, and the Son of Man. They were part of his plan to show that he is truly to be worshipped. Even as young as I don't know how much old he was his age that day, they still were part on how to demonstrate true worship, devotion. They came 900 miles just to worship. So, and yeah, it makes the point that even the demons who really don't believe, you would say, don't give worship to God, they still believe in him. They tremble against Jehovah God. And Jehovah God said, "This is my son." So, yeah, it was an honor entering to the presence of God, the Shekinah glory, to worship, give their gifts. They were more honored than them giving honor to the, or giving blessing to the newborn king. And it says in Matthew 2 verse 12, let's see, when it was time to leave, they returned to their own country by another route. For God had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod. So they were willing, even though they have different beliefs with the Jews. These wise men from Persia, they obeyed God because they knew in their hearts, even though Herod was the king of the Roman Empire at that time, They were the empire at that time. When God spoke through a dream, and they believed in dreams and visions, then God, who created the stars they are studying, there's no greater authority than that. Even Herod cannot make his own animal, or he cannot create. There's only one creator. There's no greater power, authority than God, Jehovah God. And so they believed and they obeyed. This is much more greater message. And God warned them. It was not just good news dream. It was a warning. They understood that when you get a warning, there's something bad. There's something bad here. And they understood that, oh no, maybe Herod has something bad intended for us. But what they didn't understand is it was not just for them, it was for the whole world, because by taking another route, that child would be spared for the future, so he could die for us, the whole world. From that time to the future, when he grew to be a pure, sinless man, and at the age of 33, he was to be crucified to die for our sins. So they did not just spare themselves, they spared our lives. They were part of the plan. Obeying God makes you a vessel of God's plan, And knowing this, who would rather believe a king appointed by the Roman Empire than a God who created everything? Of course, I'd rather obey the greater power. Because when you go against him, I know something bad will happen. But when you are for him, when you're on his side, there's always good. And lastly, yes, we said it was not just for them. It was for all of us. It says in Deuteronomy verse 6, 4-5, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength." Why is this important? Because in Romans 8:28 it says, "And we know that God causes everything to work together for good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them." So see, maybe they haven't loved God fully yet, with all their heart, with all their mind, but they were called for a purpose. They changed routes. See? And it works together. They spared their lives. But it's also for us who love God. As Christians now who believe, all this, God is working. There may not be an answer for today. He's planning all these things. We have a purpose in life. And for us to know that purpose, we should start by truly loving God with all our heart, with all our soul, with all our mind, and with all our strength. So, do you want to be part of his goodness? Everything works together for the goodness, for His good. I mean, for our good. Love Him. Start by obeying Him diligently, knowing how to worship Him. So I hope you were blessed. You enjoyed this study. For your likes, or leave some comments, and I hope you subscribe to my channel, and let's see each other again for another quest for questions in the Bible. So as I say, when you ask the right questions to the right person, you get the best answer. Have a great time.